Oh, is that it? Don't know if that's it. Let's try this. There we go. That's strange. I've just literally done a member stream and it was all absolutely fine. I've done a member stream and the microphone was absolutely fine, so I didn't even see that it wasn't working until you lot have just said you muted whatever. So I don't know what's happened there. That's very strange. Literally, as of like 20 minutes ago, I just finished a member stream. Okay, well, let's go through all that again, shall we? I was saying that we've got a championship match coming up tonight. So we've got a championship match. We've got Aaron Rourke taking on Harlem Lewis for the Evolve Championship. I was just saying that I'm not really taken with either of these guys. Let's just jump over, shall we, and see where we are with a breakdown. Because I did just kind of go through this, but granted, you didn't hear what I was saying. So, Aaron Rourke, the champion, defending against Harlem Lewis. I'm not a big fan of either of these guys. I do like Aaron Rourke. I think he's different, he's unique. I find his wrestling to be watchable. I mean, it's pretty solid. He certainly isn't sloppy or anything in there. I think he's pretty good. Not a big fan of his promos. I kind of find them to be a bit sassy to the point where he comes across a bit heelish to me. I think he would make a better heel. I just find like a sassiness that's in there. But yeah, Aaron Rourke, the champ, against Harlem Lewis. I was just saying, I don't really find Harlem Lewis to be main man energy. I kind of find him to be a bit of a tag player, really. I could see him having a tag partner and kind of being in a tag team. So Harlem Lewis, for me, he's got a lot of growth to do. He's got to find a bit of charisma. But yeah, Aaron Rourke against Harlem Lewis, that's going to be our main event. I did just put a poll in the chat. Who do you think is going to leave as Evolve champion? So this is going to be our main event tonight, the Evolve Championship on the line. And speaking of main man energy, we have got Max Abrams taking on Starboy. So Max Abrams against Starboy. It's always good to see Starboy in action. So that should be fun. Max Abrams is okay, but I do like Starboy. And then we got Layla Diggs taking on Veronica Haven. So I don't know anything about Veronica Haven, but Layla Diggs is always worth watching. I think this must be like a tape show because Layla Diggs is in action and we know she's picked up an injury recently. So the fact that she's in action says to me this is obviously pre-taped. Never see any spoilers for this, though, so I genuinely don't know which way these matches are going. But yeah, we do have an Evolve Championship match going down tonight. That, as we said, is going to be our main event. Miss Dell Jr., hello, says, Daze, what do we think about England-Argentina? Yep. It's a shame that England lost. As an American citizen, they fought hard. Do we think Argentina cheated? No, I don't think they cheated. To be honest with you, I'm just not shocked. I think if you joined us the other day as, was it UFC? So as UFC was on, the Norway-England game was on, and I was kind of keeping a side eye on that whilst watching UFC on Saturday. And there was a few people commenting saying, like, I can't believe how annoyed you are. I can't believe how frustrated you are. You know you're through to the next round. And I was like, I need to find the clip, but I think I actually applauded and congratulated Argentina for winning this match on Saturday, right? Because this England have just not been good enough throughout this whole tournament. This is not a surprise to me. I really was underwhelmed by England, and they've just been scraping through their matches. You know, they've got good heart. You know, you can't question the effort that they put in, but you know, you're going to get to a certain point. And you would expect that to be the quarterfinals and semi-finals, where heart is not going to be able to get you any further. You know, you've got to... I mean, they were trying to put crosses in, and it was hitting the first Argentina defender. They couldn't even get balls in the box. That says to me we just didn't have the right players on the wings to be able to get good deliveries in. You look at Messi. putting the ball in. I know Messi's amazing, but I thought he was good today, but I didn't think he was outstanding. But I mean, he was able to get the ball in the box, and you know, there was lots of headers, lots of chances for Argentina. We would go down the other end, we'd try and get the ball in, it would hit the defender, wouldn't even get in the box. And after watching that, like, again and again and again, you just get so frustrated. You're like, this is just ridiculous. Like, this is clearly wrong. We've clearly got the wrong setup. We got the wrong players out there. We're looking to the manager to do something. And he brings defenders on when there's like 20 minutes to go. And it's like, okay, we had to hold out against Norway. And we just about managed to do it. We had to hold out against Mexico. We just about managed to do it. I don't think you can keep playing that game. You can't keep playing the let's get a goal and see if we can just survive 20 minutes with a load of defenders on the pitch. Not when you've got Messi and Martinez and all these people in front of you. So, honestly, this is just not a shock to me. I don't feel disappointed. I really am not kind of upset or anything. I do just feel like angry. I'm just angry because it's so obvious that England's got that wrong, you know? I think England have just thrown it away. And I don't think this is anything about today. I'll have to find that clip of me applauding Argentina on Saturday, because what I saw against Norway was garbage. We were so lucky to get through that game, and I just knew that unless we improved, I knew that we were not going to go through. I knew that we were done. We were cooked. And, you know, you keep hearing, don't you? Oh, we're going to get better. We're going to get better. It's going to click. It's going to get better. Arguably, this was the worst game I think I've seen us play. This was like Congo bad. This was just bad. So, yeah, you know, no excuses. England were rubbish. Argentina, I didn't think were that special, actually. I mean, they were okay. But I didn't think they were that great. I thought it was more England kind of retreating, which meant that Argentina got more of the ball. They created some chances. They only actually put a chance away in like the 80-something minute. I mean, they haven't scored until the 80-something minute. But they're worthy winners. England absolutely retreated. We couldn't get the ball in the box. We created next to nothing for Bellingham or Kane. Just threw it away. That's the most frustrating thing. You go all that way to the semi-final, touching a World Cup final within touching distance, and you just throw it away. A lot of anger that I'm seeing online from England fans towards our manager. A lot of people like, where was Rashford? Why did he come on with 4 or 5 minutes to go? Where was Saka? Why did you not bring him on at all? Why did you kind of go so defensive with like, not just like 5 minutes to go, but like 20 odd minutes to go? You really thought we were going to hold out against Argentina, just defending all out? Did you not watch what happened against Egypt, where they came back from 2-0 down with like 12 or 15 minutes to go? Don't know, man. I won't be upset if Thomas Tuchel gets fired. I think Tuchel got it completely wrong. Completely wrong. I think his starting lineup was not bad. I thought it was pretty even going in at half-time. But, I mean, even the warning signs were there in the first half because we just weren't fluid enough. You could just see we just weren't good enough. We weren't good enough throughout this whole tournament. So we could have got through. We could have scraped through. We could have maybe held on, won 1-0, got to the final, and then just got battered on Sunday. So do you know what? At least I've got my Sunday back now. So so yeah, there we go. Those are my thoughts. I won't shed a tear if it comes out that Thomas Tuchel has been sacked. It seemed like England ran a bit out of gas, said Sean. I think they just had too many long games. Kevin, Triple H, HBK, Christopher, shout out to you. Daryl said, if Crown Jewel happens this year, who are we hoping will be the 2 champ versus champ matches? To be honest with you, I don't massively care for the Crown Jewel event. I don't really find it like this big, prestigious showdown of champions. I certainly wouldn't be booking for it. So I wouldn't be like, you know, oh, I want to do this at Crown Jewel, so let's get the belt on this person and the belt on that person. Like, to me, I would just have whoever the champions are go up against each other. I just don't think the fans feel about Crown Jewel the way that WWE probably want them to feel about it. I think it doesn't help as well by the fact that we never see the rings. Do you know what I mean? Like they don't wear the rings all the time. We never hear them talking about, my dream is to become a Crown Jewel champion. People's dreams are to main event WrestleMania. That's what people want to do. You don't hear people talking about, I want to be the Crown Jewel champion. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't really have like a dream match for that. I would literally just put the champs up against each other. So, as of right now, it would be CM Punk versus Roman Reigns. Obviously, we did that at WrestleMania. It was a fantastic match that got 5 stars. I'm more than happy to run that back. That's absolutely fine. Equally, if Cody wins and we do Cody versus Roman, that'll be fine. If Seth wins, we do Seth Punk, that's fine. We could do Seth Cody, that's fine. I mean, it's the big names, isn't it? I mean, I feel like we do combinations of those kinds of names. We do different combinations on a regular basis. Like Seth and Cody obviously had a feuds. And when Cody first came in after coming back from AEW, and then we've done Cody Roman with the whole finishing of the story. We've done Punk Roman at WrestleMania this year, and they were part of the triple threat the year before. I feel like we've done pretty much every combination of those names. So I suppose you can make an argument it would be good to get someone else kind of in that mix. But I don't know that we're going to. I mean, I think the event after SummerSlam is. Am I right in saying it's? I don't know actually. In my head is saying to me that it's Money in the Bank, but that I think has been moved to October, hasn't it? So what is September? What is the September PLE? Have they announced the September PLE? I don't know off the top of my head. Let's have a look. Let's see what 2026. Looks like so far. No, there isn't. There is no announcement. So at the moment, according to Wikipedia, we've got SummerSlam on the 1st and the 2nd. We got NXT Heatwave on August 30th. Then in September, there's just Saturday night's main event. So there isn't like a show announced for September at the moment. We do have Money in the Bank in October, and we do have Survivor Series in November, and we do need to fit in a Saudi show. So that would be likely Crown Jewel, and I mean, I'm guessing likely it would be September. Or do you try and get it in at I don't think you can really. I was going to say, could you get it in at the very end of October? But I mean, Money in the Bank is October 10th. So I mean, you haven't got long. But then does it matter? Because 2 of your big matches are the 2 world champs going against each other. So you don't need much of a build for that, do you? So are they going to try and squeeze it in at the end of October? When did we do Crown Jewel the year before? 2025. Crown Jewel was October last year, but they've moved it around, haven't they? WrestlePalooza was in September. There's been no word about a WrestlePalooza this year. This big, massive new event that they debuted last year. That's going to be, it was the first PLE on ESPN, and it was massive, and it was going to be the new WrestleMania and all that kind of stuff. Well, no word about it this year. So, yeah. Yeah, I don't think it's a big deal. But at the moment, coming out of SummerSlam, it looks like it's going to be one of those kind of combinations, of the usual names. EQ, shout out to you. Miss Dell Jr. said, I hope that Spain beat Argentina. I think France will beat England for 3rd place. What do we think about Oba, Brock, Hell in a Cell? Do we think Cody Roman will happen again? Okay, Oba, Brock, Hell in a Cell. Yeah, I like it. One of the things I said was that if we're going to bring Brock back, because, I mean, I feel like I've already sort of said goodbye to Brock. I know that it was, I don't know the reason for why they did what they did at WrestleMania. Unreal might tell us, but did they know that it was a fake retirement? Or was it that Brock just decided, no, I'm done, I'm going to retire, and then ended up being convinced to come back for SummerSlam, and a few other matches? I don't know the truth on that. I don't know what actually happened at WrestleMania. So I think that for me, it felt like he was done. I mean, Heyman was very emotional. It felt very real. It could have been a work. I mean, it could have been a work. But yeah, if you're going to bring him back, right? If you're going to make out like he's retired and then you're going to bring him back, I really want you to bring him back for something I've not seen, because I felt like I was saying goodbye to him at WrestleMania, right? I think a lot of us felt like we were saying goodbye. So if you now are bringing him back, I don't want him coming back and just not doing anything that I haven't already seen. I thought the rematch was disappointing because it was just another match between them. And I'd already seen a match between them at WrestleMania. And I thought it was extra disappointing when Oba gets beaten. I mean, to me, that is, I mean, the worst booking decision of the year, other than maybe Pat being on the other end of the phone to Randy. I mean, having Oba lose so easily, so early in his run, and I'm going to say so unnecessarily as well. I mean, it's one thing for him to have been counted out. It's another thing for them to have just started, you know, brawling on the outside and there being a double count out, or for some reason, some sort of no contest. I think there was easily a way of that second match sort of feeling like it wasn't finished. And instead they beat Oba, which I was very disappointed with. So, yeah, for me, I need something different, and this is where that Hell in a Cell comes in. Brock Lesnar inside Hell in a Cell, I don't know, I'm trying to think of when we've seen it before, to be honest, because it's very rare. I mean, I think we saw it against Undertaker, but it's very, very rare. So, yeah, scary. You know, locked inside of a cage with Brock Lesnar, with weapons and access to weapons because of it being a cell, so you can go under the ring. And do you know what I mean? Normally you get a bit of bloods and all that stuff. Plus, we think there's a good chance that it's going to be his retirement match. So I'm actually all for it. Because I feel like I'm getting something that I've not seen before. I'm getting something that was worth him coming back for. And I'm not down on the Hell in a Cell. I'm quite excited for it. I do think it needs a little bit of time. It can't be like a 5-minute thing. I think it should main event night 1, actually. I'd have it main event night 1. I wouldn't be upset if it main evented night 2, because certainly if Brock's retiring, I wouldn't be down on it being the main event of night 2. Roman Seth night 1, Oba Brock night 2, because you know that crowd are going to really care because it's in Minnesota. But you could do it night 1, but I do think it should close the show and it should have some time, and there should be weapons and there should be bloods, and I'm sort of hoping Brock calls it quits. I don't really want to just keep going with Brock now. We've got Oba. But, you know, whatever. And in regards to Cody Roman, do we think that'll happen again? Yeah, probably. Probably. It's, you know, at the moment, we're in a phase where we've got a group of wrestlers that deliver, right? Decent numbers. We've got a group of wrestlers that can deliver, you know, some decent views and engagement and ticket sales, and WWE have lent on that the past few years. WWE also know they need to get new names up there, but you know, at the moment, Roman, Cody, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, you know, these are the names. Brock Lesnar, these are the names that they've relied on past few years, and WWE know that they're not going to be able to rely on them, you know, over the next few years. There's an acknowledgement we need to, you know, do something with Braun, do something with Jacob, do something with Gunther, do something with Oba. You know, that we can see an effort in trying to bring that talent through. And they've tried with Jay and Damian, you know, they've tried a few other people, seeing if that would work, and it hasn't quite worked. The numbers have not been brilliant. So, you know, at the moment, we're kind of still using different combinations of those same names. there's quite a few of you out there that are frustrated with that and want us to move on to something different. I think that's coming. We're just not there yet. And I think we've also tried some stuff that hasn't worked, which has also slowed it down, right? Bron Breakker is a failed experiment in my mind, right? Because I think we were trying with him with the vision. I think we were trying with him at the start of the year when he had a match against CM Punk. I think it was on Raw for the championship, and CM Punk retains. And, you know, that could have been a little setback where Bron kicked on. But actually, not long after that, he gets injured and... You know, I mean, it just completely derails things. Ends up coming back at WrestleMania and him getting involved in the Seth Gunther match. Gunther, I think, is interesting. I was just having a chat with Mosey and Kev, actually, on Wrestle Feuds about Gunther and the frustrations around his booking. And I thought Mosey made a good point, actually, during Wrestle Feuds. He was saying that he doesn't really want to see Gunther against Nick Aldis because what's the point? You know, it gets Nick Aldis in the ring. It's good for Nick Aldis, but Gunther retired John, retired AJ, and, you know, now finds himself taking on someone that's not even an active wrestler. You know, someone that even if he retires Nick Aldis, what does it matter? Because Nick Aldis has sort of been retired for a good few years anyway. You know, it's not like he's been tearing it up and now Gunther's going to end his career. You know, Nick Aldis is going to have to come back to wrestling so that he can go away from wrestling again. And I do understand that, being like, it's not really what I want for Gunther. So, yeah, I kind of understood what Mosey was saying there, to be honest. He's a big Gunther fan. He's a big Gunther head. He's a Gunth head. So, yeah, in regards to Rome and Cody, could we see them facing off in the future? Yeah, I think we could, because we're still kind of doing different combinations of the same people. But I know a lot of you out there are very desperate to see us move on to something different. Sean said it seems like Brock left at Mania because the Vince Grant case was moving forwards, but then all of a sudden decided to come back after the case got settled and the files were sealed. Could be true, honestly. Could be really, really true, because that was a big question that we had at the time, was the court case was going to be in June and July, which is actually in between both of those shows, WrestleMania, then court case, then SummerSlam. And you could believe that Brock wanted to go away before all of that kind of came out. And obviously now it looks like that's all kind of going to be done behind closed doors. I don't know if they've reached a settlement, or I haven't heard the latest on it all. I know there's been movement, and I know it looks like it's all going to be playing out behind closed doors and that they're trying to get a settlement. I just haven't heard if a settlement has been reached and if the case is officially done and closed. If it is done and closed, then that obviously is a massive dub for Brock and for Vince. It's going to have cost Vince a horrific amount of money. Horrific amount of money. I mean, I don't even know a number. I wouldn't be shocked if it was like 100 million. It's going to be something insane for that case to kind of go away. So, yeah, if it's been settled behind closed doors. But to be honest with you, Vince probably doesn't have too long left, because I think his mom lived till she was in her 90s. Vince right now, I mean, he's old. Vince right now is 80. So, you know, men don't live as long as women. And so, you know, Vince could probably get to that 90 age. Maybe he's got 10 years left. But, yeah, I mean, for him, it probably makes sense to just spend whatever, get this gone, get this dealt with, and just enjoy what, you know, is left of life for Vince. So, yeah, I think that the Brock thing about him retiring because of the legal case and the court case and all of that stuff, there could be some merit to that, Sean. I'm picking up what you're putting down there. Shining Wizard said, if anyone's going to come to Australia to watch the wrestling, I've got room for my friends that isn't an ass clown, said Shining Wizards. Pat said most guys' first reign with the top titles forgettable. It's almost like you need a really long reign or to be on your third reign for it to be credible. Do you know, it's a good point, actually. I mean, it's probably true. Like your first reign is probably a difficult one because, well, I just think that you're moving up a level, aren't you? You know, if you're a world champion, you are one of the faces now of the company. You are absolutely front and center. You're doing all the media, you're doing the meet and greets, you're going on the late night talk shows. You might not necessarily be doing that if you're chasing the championship, but, you know, all of a sudden now you are consistently going to be in the title matches at the PLEs, you know, and you are consistently defending that belt, closing the shows, probably getting the microphone and speaking to the crowd at the end of live events, at the end of Raws. You know, I mean, there is just like this extra workload and extra pressure that comes with being the champion, right? And you could sort of understand people having to get used to that extra weight. And you could sort of understand people trying to get comfortable with it, trying to find how they carry it and, you know, get settled into it. So, yeah, I could agree with that first reign is one that's like, well, you know, here we are, you know, let's see how this kind of fits and feels. And then, you know, you kind of maybe shine a bit brighter, get a bit more comfortable on your second and third reigns. But I don't know what that's in reference to. If it's in reference to Cody, the only thing I would say is I think that WWE's creative teams have actually been poor and underwhelming and haven't been optimized for quite a while now. I think the challenges that we saw in early 2026 and in 2025, I think if you was to go back, you would find examples of those challenges quite easily in 2024. For me personally, I think that we was able to get our teeth into finishing the story. We had a big boost with The Rock coming in, which provided this extra level of star power and intrigue. So early 2024, we're benefiting from all of that. And then once we're done with that, you know, the bloodline is done. It's all fallen apart. So, you know, Roman goes away. So you haven't really got the bloodline. You haven't really got Roman. You haven't got The Rock because he goes. Really, all of this kind of firework display and excitement, it all goes. And all you've got left after that is Cody with the belt. And you better have some good stuff planned for him because he's got to try and follow, you know, what they just did. You could make an argument that one of the best things they could have done for Cody would be for him to have lost that belt quite quickly, because I don't think following up on that was ever going to be easy. So would it have made more sense to have had Cody get screwed out of the belt quite quick, frustrated people with the fact that, you know, he gets to the title, but then loses it quite quickly. And then he has to try and get back into the mix again. And then actually when he does get it the second time, he's not finishing the story. He's not having to follow Bloodline, Rock, and all this craziness. He's just following whatever came before, and whatever came before would not have been that same level of fireworks. And maybe that would have been better, rather than him trying to have a run that can sort of follow what came before, which I think was an unenviable task for anybody. And I don't think they got it right. They tried to make Solo this big monster and it just didn't work. And we keep going back to it, but, you know, Solo versus Cody being the match at SummerSlam. I mean, it's such a downgrade. You go from Cody finishing the story against Roman at WrestleMania 40 to then at SummerSlam him taking on Solo. It's such a downgrade. It's such a big step backwards. And that to me just sums up Cody's booking in a nutshell. You go from there to there. And I don't even blame Cody for it, as I've said many, many times. And this is why, like, I'm still waiting for that title run that, like, you know, he's going to set the world on fire and is like, you know, what we wanted to see after WrestleMania. We haven't had it. And, you know, I'm starting to lose confidence that we'll ever get it, to be honest with you. But I can't say that I'm kind of done with Cody, because I still feel like that run is possible. I still feel like we could line up a load of great heels for him to kind of compete against, and we could, you know, do some fun stuff. Imagine if they did a supermarket brawl in this day and age, you know? Imagine if we did something along those lines. I just feel like there's so much stuff that they could be doing that people would find engaging and exciting, but we just don't seem to do it. But so I actually think the bad creative has been around for quite a while. Thankfully, since WrestleMania, Raw seems to have improved. SmackDown still has obviously got its struggles, but I think there's a bit of movement there. I think moving Rhea over and CM Punk over and Balor over, and, you know, we're trying a few things there. So, don't know. Fingers crossed. We'll have to see how it goes. Have to see how it all plays out. Big times, their days. England didn't learn from Switzerland, Argentina, where they went with the idea of we're going to defend, kill time, and hope we get through. Argentina was having so much possession. I don't even think it was that, to be honest with you. I don't think it wasn't a case of not learning. We were just atrocious. We've been atrocious all tournament. I don't think it's about not learning. I think it's about not having the quality. I think that it was England knew that they needed to attack the wings. The thing about Argentina is they play very, very narrow. So everyone knows that. Everyone knows that Argentina play narrow, and they try to play down the middle, and they try to get the ball into Messi, and they like to get the ball to Messi on the edge of the area. And they've got these patterns of play that we all know about. And so what England needed to do was they needed to make the game wide. They needed to use width. They needed to go out wide, needed to get balls in the box. When you get balls in the box, you can have Kane in there, Bellingham in there. You know, you can get people in there, cause some trouble. Ball might come out to the edge of the area. You know, we've got Declan Rice that can jump onto it. Bellingham can be onto it. We actually had Rodgers on the pitch as well, who's a very good number 10. He's got a good shot on him. In fact, we scored a goal against Norway because of Rodgers taking a shot from a long distance. Goalkeeper kind of parried it away. It went straight to Bellingham. Bellingham scored. So, you know, you're looking at like, okay, that feels like a good plan. But then I'm watching England throughout the first half and certainly in the second half, trying to get balls into the box, and it would hit the first defender and just bounce away. And probably end up going to an Argentina player who then would attack us. And you're like, this is just mental. This is insane. Like, I'm watching England trying to do something, clearly failing at it. And then you're basically just giving the ball back to Argentina, who then just come and attack you. And, you know, England are very fortunate to get that goal. We didn't really attack much. We managed to get the ball in the net somehow, right, from one of the attacks. You know, on a rare occasion where we did actually get the ball into the area, on one of those rare occasions where we didn't hit an Argentina player, it actually got in the box, and guess what? We scored. So you kind of look at that and go, yeah, if you do it right, then you can actually get success. But too many times England tried, too many times England failed, too many times they shot themselves in the foot. And, you know, the thing with Argentina is if they're still in the game, even if they're 2 down with like 10 minutes to go, whatever, you know they're going to be putting the pressure on you. You know that they're not going to want to go out the World Cup. They're going to throw everything they've got at you. And you can weather a storm against Norway or Mexico. I don't think you're going to weather that storm against Argentina. But to be honest with you, I think the game was sort of lost before that. I think just being 1-0 up and then making changes where you bring defenders on and just trying to see the game out, like, I'm just so uninspired by what I've seen. Again, it doesn't, to be honest with you, it doesn't like VPNs too much. So sometimes you get a little wobble on this stream, but yeah, the point I was just making there is sometimes I was watching the ball come into England players, and rather than just hit it first time, quickly move the ball around, you know, constantly move up with England, and perhaps they just didn't have the legs. Yeah, maybe there's some truth to that. Because what I saw was an England performance that was very slow, very laboured, very uninspiring. Oh, I'm honestly, I'm not disappointed. I'm not even surprised. I'm just annoyed. I wish we'd have like given a great version of ourselves. Do you know what I mean? Like been playing it really quickly, getting it out to the wings, getting balls in, getting loads of opportunities, but, you know, just going wide, keeper saving them. But, you know, we're looking good. I'd love to be sat here with people going, do you know what, fair play. You might be out, but you did really well. And do you know what? You can't say that. And nor should you say that. Because we were just rubbish. Supermarket brawl in this day and age with these grocery prices, says Rob. You know that TKO are cheap. It ain't happening. That's part of the problem, isn't it? Part of the problem is that you kind of want those exciting elements. I mean, obviously feuds are going to be built of matches, and they're going to be built of promos, and you're going to get the odd backstage segments. But I think for your top story, your champion story, you want something that's going to be quite exciting. I mean, you don't want constant home invasions and stuff like that, but that's where people's mind kind of goes to. You know, Brandy being brought in to the mix, you know, where we could have used her in some manner. I think there's things we could have done, and you know, again, it just like England's WWE has felt very uninspired at times, unfortunately. But hopefully that's changing. There we go. Right. We are... Oh, my chat's just died. I'm in real trouble. It doesn't like the flipping... It doesn't like the VPN. Sometimes you do have a few issues with it. Okay, JMB said, I've got a great feeling that Kyrie is going to be returning to Marigolds because they do have a huge tag team match in a few weeks. Well, I wish her all the very best. I do really like Kyrie. I think it's a real shame as to what happened with her. So I do wish her all the very best. When I met her at an NXT live event back in like 2018, and she was lovely. She was so good. Dean said, do you think England will win the World Cup again? Yeah, I think they will. I don't know if it'll be in my lifetime, but to be honest with you, England have got to be better. We've got some very exciting players coming through, and I don't know, I do find myself wondering if we had Luke Shaw on the pitch tonight, who's very good at getting forward and getting balls into the box. You know, could he have made a difference? Would it have been better if he was on the pitch? Because what I was seeing was, you know, England just not causing Argentina enough problems, just not getting balls into that box enough. And Luke Shaw, I think, could have maybe helped with that. I do also wonder if, like, is there any way that we could have got Trent onto the pitch? I'm actually not a big Trent Alexander-Arnold fan because I don't think defensively he's good enough. But again, if you want to get balls into the box and you want to kind of cause problems, he is just fantastic. But when I look on the one side, and we've got Jed Spence, who was very good tonight, but not known for like getting crosses in. He's not known for that. I look at him, I sort of look at like, I don't know, do we have on the other side Reece James, who has just been injured a lot? I mean, he can get balls into the box, but we weren't seeing it. I just think that we got it wrong. We just got the setup wrong. We've got players coming through, though, like Max Dowman at Arsenal, who I'm very excited by. There's a young 15-year-old at Man United called JJ Gabriel, who is going to set the world on fire. JJ Gabriel is going to be a problem. Very excited by him. He's 15 and he's already like ready for the first team. He is like going to be England's Yamin Lamal. He is someone I'm very excited by. So, you know, we've got a few players actually that I think we can be excited by. I wonder if Thomas Tuchel will look at the England squad that he selected, the 25-26, and have some regrets about not using the squad more. Kobe Mainoo never got a minute on the pitch. How does that make any sense? You know, there was big question marks about not taking a proper right back. We had Reece James. Other than that, we didn't have a right back. Jed Spence can play either side, but should we have took a different right back? There was a lot of questions around that squad. I think they've done really well. They've got to a semi-final. It's only the 4th time England have ever got that far. So it's hard to be like really down on them, but this was a golden opportunity to get to the final. England, I'm telling you, we could have beaten Argentina tonight. Definitely. We have got the players that could have done it. And I thought we had the manager as well. You know, he's won a Champions League. He's, you know, managed Paris Saint-Germain. He's managed in Germany. He's managed Chelsea. He's a top manager. But I got to tell you tonight, there's anger over here that he really got it wrong. Really got it wrong. Daze, I don't think Crown Jewel means anything. No, I agree with you, Jamie. I don't think it means anything either, to be honest. Shining Wizard said, who are we excited about right now? That's a good question. I think I'm excited to see what we do with Johnny. I think Johnny kind of appearing a lot, Sammy talking to him. I feel like we must be close to getting going with Johnny at the moment. Johnny is someone that I'd like to get behind. I like Johnny. I like Candice. I find them very likable. I'm finding myself like I want to root for them. So I'm interested to see what kind of comes out of that. So that, I would say, is one of the kind of interesting things for me. In regards to, it's hard to kind of root for Roman, Seth, Cody, Punk. I mean, I don't hate any of them. Believe it or not, I'm not like passionately behind any of them. If we moved away from Cody, I would be okay with it. I just push back on the kind of anti-Cody stuff because I just feel sorry for him. I feel sorry for him because I just think he's been let down with the booking. So, but I also think, you know, he's finished the story. He's had lots of title matches, opportunity. He's repaid that by being, you know, someone that can get ratings and someone that can sell tickets and sell merch. So, you know, he's repaid it. But I'm also okay if we move on to, you know, someone else. So, or someone else. But Bron Breakker didn't do it for me. I can't say that I'm sat here thinking Bron Breakker should be in the mix. I like Oba. I'm kind of happy to move on from Brock. I will be interested in Oba going for the title. I expect him to beat Roman when they collide. I would expect Oba to get that win. If it's at WrestleMania next year, I think they pulled the trigger on Oba. I do like Trick, but I haven't really enjoyed his main roster run, to be honest. Not crazy about him being with Little Yachty. I don't think his match quality has been very good. There's always been question marks around that. I think it's fine. It's acceptable. But it's maybe not good enough for main events, you know? So there's definitely some questions there. It's a good question. I like EO. I root for EO. I like EO. I like Johnny and Candice. Sammy has got to the title. I think I'm down for him being a heel. But yeah, it's a good question because like there's not a long list. But then saying that, I think that also works in my favor because I'm quite neutral with a lot of people. I don't hate them either. I don't love them, but I don't hate them. I'm just sort of a bit indifferent. So that means that I can be a bit more analytical, a bit less emotional. It's probably not great for views. Do you know what I mean? Like normally you should really be screaming the house down and all that stuff. But I'm probably quite balanced at the moment because, yeah, I don't want to lie. I'm not interested. There's no point doing this and just, you know, faking reactions and all of that. I just feel a bit like, yeah, there's not really anyone that massively grabs me. But there are some superstars that I like to see succeed. I really do enjoy watching EO. I really do enjoy Johnny when he was in NXT, and I'd love to see him get out of this flipping coma. So those two are two that come to mind. I've always root for Sammy, but I mean, Sammy's in a weird place now. He's won the title, and I suppose I'm just kind of watching his story unfold. I'd like for Gunther to get to a world championship, but I'm not going to necessarily be rooting for him to do that, what with him being like a monster heel. So, but I'd kind of like to see that happen. I think he deserves the WWE Championship. He's obviously won the World Heavyweight Championship a few times. I'm not a big LA Knight fan. I'm not really too fussed there. I don't mind Danhausen. I do find some of his stuff a little silly and sometimes repetitive, but you do get that. WWE have to create content every week, so there is a lot of, R-Truth is very repetitive. It's the same joke where he just gets confused again and again and again, so but Danhausen's been an excellent addition, so yeah, he's all right. But yeah, it's tricky. It is tricky. I always have good questions, said Shining Wizards. Like, which forum members have slept together? What, in here? Oh, who hasn't slept together? I think everyone's pretty much hooked up with everyone else. Rhea Ripley has got to vacate that championship. When she comes back, she needs to have some real adversity, said Destin. Dean said, do we think that we should give the championship opportunity to a younger star? Yeah, but who? You can say that you can give it to a younger star, but who? Because I'm not really seeing anyone that's kind of bringing in the numbers at the moment. You've got to remember Triple H is going to be sat there looking at merch sales, looking at Google searches, looking at, segment viewer breakdown. And there is this sort of conspiracy, if you will, that Triple H just loves certain people and he's just going to keep them in the main event and he's not interested in anyone else. I think that's the biggest pile of rubbish. And I could swear, but I'm not going to. I think it's nonsense. I think it's absolute nonsense. I think that there's people in the IWC that don't have the ability to sort of look at what's actually happening and actually understand kind of the business. I mean, I'm fortunate in that I worked in retail for 15 years and I've been around numbers and I've been around expectations and, I understand like key performance indicators. I understand like the pressure of hitting deadlines and, having budgets and all this kind of stuff. So, the stores I used to work in would be taking millions each year. And, I've worked at various stages throughout the company that I worked at. So I think I have a good understanding of like how a business runs and what the pressures are like being in certain positions. And, when it comes to Triple H, he is going to want the people that are going to get him the biggest results in the most high-profile matches. And at the moment, I genuinely believe if we were to look at the numbers, Roman, Seth, Cody, those names, CM Punk, those are the names that are getting him the big results. So those are the names that he's using. If you want to break into that group, then you need to be showing that you've got potential. You need to be showing that your merch sales are good and you've got a connection with the fans. You need to be showing that you're taking information on boards. You need to be obviously someone that is bringing in good ratings. You need to be someone that's, got a connection. There's definitely a couple of times where I would say I struggle to answer because I'm not Triple H why we've not gone with a certain person. We have these conversations and people will be like, okay, well, explain Karrion Kross to me. Explain LA Knight to me. And, they're really interesting conversations. I think LA Knight, I do think there's a large part in him coming in with an expectation of being a mid-carder and also his age. I think he's here more for experience than he is for being a big player. And I think he's managed to make himself a big player. And actually, Triple H now has to decide, do I want to go that way and invest in someone that's maybe only got a few years left to compete, because I think he's like 43. So, you know, I would respond by saying he's managed to get himself over when WWE weren't looking for that. That wasn't really in the plan. And because of his age, I think they're having to make a decision of what do we do. So, you know, if LA Knight was 32, I think this is a different conversation. I think we pull the trigger on LA Knight, but he's not. And you're only going to get a return of a few years out of him. So is it worth it? It might be worth it in the short term, but is it worth it in the long term? Or is it actually better to invest in a Bron Breakker who you could get 15 years out of? Or an Obafemi who you could get 15 years. You ain't getting 15 years out of LA Knight. So I think LA Knight, I would say, is that. Carrion I can't quite answer, other than his match quality was never that strong. If you actually look at his matches, I don't think his matches were ever that well received. I mean, he has a feud with Sami Zayn last year, which was pretty poor, to be honest. You know, Sami tends to have really good matches, but the series of matches he has with Carrion is very underwhelming. And so I don't think we would have got rid of him because of match quality, but he had a great connection with the audience. He definitely did sell merch. I don't know what the viewership was like. I'm sure there's some indicators that would say that, you know, he maybe wasn't kind of like, you know, as good as what we think. I'm sure there are some numbers that say, you know, his segments weren't drawing in the ratings as high as you would have expected. I mean, one thing I would say about Carrion is he gets fired. We hear we want Carrion chants at SummerSlam, and then we've never heard them since. Do you know what I mean? It's not like the live crowds have been going chanting his name. It's not like even we've seen tons of signs. I know there's been a few reports of the odd sign being confiscated, but there are no reports of loads of signs being confiscated. So the idea that he connected with the crowds, I think you can sort of pick a bit of a hole in that. He certainly connected with the IWC, but where were the chants? Where were the We Want Cross chants? And if anyone's going to go, yeah, but we went to Europe, it doesn't matter. Europe is part of the fan base. You know, wherever we go, the fans are part of the fan base. Every fan is equal. It's not just, WWE don't just care about what the American fans are saying. They care about what's happening in Europe, what's happening in Australia, what's happening in Latin America. It shouldn't matter where we go. You know, if the fans really wanted Carrion back, they should have made their voices heard, and they didn't. And I think that's maybe just a glimpse that maybe the support for him was very passionate online, but maybe didn't quite bleed into the numbers in the way you would have expected, because where were the chants? I mean, I remember the day after the news broke that he had kind of gone, there was a dude that was trying to get a chant going, and he went online. I think this was in like Montreal. He went online and he was like, guys, I'm sorry I tried. No one was joining in. And there was a guy that went online to say no one would join in. So I don't have the answers as to, you know, the exact answers as to what happened with Carrion and LA Knight. But I can certainly point to a couple of things that makes me think that maybe it was this, maybe it was that, right? As to why we didn't go those directions. But yeah, look, Oba has shown that he has got that aura and that he has got that connection, and WWE are going with it. Oba is going to be a world champion within the next 12 months. Or just after SummerSlam next year, right, at the latest. I would expect him to get the belt at WrestleMania. It could be SummerSlam, right? But it's going to be around 12 months. I don't expect it to be any later than that. Like, they love Oba because he's come in, he's made a splash, he's got a connection with the audience, and they're going to go with it. So this idea that the main event scene is like a closed off boys club for only certain people, I really do strongly disagree with. I think you've got to show that you have the ability to connect with the fans, show that in your numbers, and then WWE will get behind you, just like they're doing with Oba. But I don't know that was the case for Bron Breakker. I don't think his numbers were strong enough. I don't think the connection was strong enough. And so Bron Breakker, you know, we didn't end up going that way. And, you know, it didn't work for Jay. It didn't work for Damian. So you can go with a young talent, but you need someone that's showing some sort of potential. It's not just a case of, shall we just put it on Javon and see what happens? Like, this is a multi-billion-dollar business. You don't just do booking where it's like, should we just shove it on him and see what happens? It's a lot more calculated than that. So you can go with someone, yes, but who? And who's showing that they are worthy of that investment? Right, so I was waiting for this video to drop, and it has dropped. Other things that are dropping are the internet connection. It's really struggling. It's having a torrid time. I'm not sure why. I mean, it might just be that it's struggling with. It might just be that it's struggling with the VPN. Wonder if I can just drop the bitrate or something. I'm a G like Ali. Okay, I have got Evolve on, and it looks like it's holding. At the moment, I'm at 2:15, and Starboy is making his way out. Looks like it might have held just as this has started. So there we go. Starboy making his way out. Let's go change this over. So Starboy. Starboy making his way out. He is taking on Max Abrams, I believe, isn't it? Max Abrams. Okay, this episode of Evolve is quite short, actually. It's clocking in at 45 minutes. 45 minutes for this week's Evolve. I hope they show Vanta the Unknown today, said Street Fighter Ingrid. Yep, yep. I'd like to see a bit more there. Max Abrams said the vloggers need to, the moggers need to get back to mogging. Okay, we're just seeing some backstage promo here. There we go. So Max Abrams just telling the rest of the Mog squad that they need to get back on track. They need to get back to doing some mogging. And here's Max Abrams making his way out. So we are at 3 minutes 55. 3 minutes 55. Max Abrams making his way down to the ring. Starboy is always fun to watch. So, quite a short episode, 45 minutes. Our main event tonight is going to be for the Evolve Championship. Seems like there's a few extra people in the crowd as well. Ratcher said, do we think the planking nonsense will be worth it at some point if Johnny wins the world title, even if it's short? I think it's hard to say it's going to be worth it because it's just been pretty dumb. I'm not sure if it's done a great deal for him. You could make an argument that it's caught a bit of attention and that people are kind of having conversations around who's that guy that's doing that, you know, rather than he just goes out there and just has matches, you know. He could be out there having matches, just like we've seen Chad having, and like, you know, how we see Phoenix going out and having matches, and Carmelo having matches and whatever. I mean, he could just be doing that. Would he be standing out more than, you know, by just not doing anything? I don't know. I think once he gets going, perhaps it's like, you know, people are looking at him going, what is he doing? Getting all frustrated, but then they'll get him going and people will be like, damn, he's good. I mean, there is going to be a lot of people that have not seen him in NXT. There's going to be a lot of people that never saw those great takeover matches, you know, Johnny Takeover. They're only used to what he's done on the main roster. They don't really know how good he is. It could kind of open a few eyes when we do get going with him. So, but I think it's really hard to say that this is going to be looked back on as being good, you know? I just find it a bit frustrating because I know what he can do. I know that he would be a good addition to the show if he was out there having matches. I really like him. I really like Candice. I think they're both really likable people. They're a likable couple. And, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what we do with him. I just hope we get going with it soon. Wouldn't be down on him against Sammy, though, because those matches would bang. Drop kick there by Starboy. Going for the cover as Max Abrams manages to kick out. He's keeping him grounded at the moment. So Starboy answered Mustafa Ali's open challenge on TNA in May. So we got Starboy in there with Max Abrams. Starboy in control. But Max Abrams is down. He's being kept down there by Starboy. They're in the middle of the ring at the moment. Max Abrams is getting up to his feet. Shot coming into the midsection. Abrams gets chucked back. Big kick coming into the midsection by Abrams. Another boot coming in. Abrams has got Starboy going against the ropes. Lovely. Look at that. Handspring against the ropes. Kick coming in there by Starboy. Abrams to the outsides. Starboy was going to go up and over, but the referee just stopped him. Why? Why has he stopped him going out? I don't know why the referee has just physically stopped Starboy from jumping out. If he wants to go out and break the count, he's got a right to do that. Okay, well, Starboy gets planted onto the edge of the ring. Max Abrams back in control as we have got a advert for SummerSlam. So we're just seeing Roman, we're seeing Trick, we're seeing Oba, Soul, Seth, Rhea, Liv. 2 nights. Gonna get Wild's SummerSlam. Javon Evans, Saturday on 1st and Sunday the 2nd. And we are back to the action. Starboy is always super impressive, says Bishop. Rapture said, Daze, would Johnny's gimmick be better if whenever he was forced to wrestle, he would show out, win, and then go back to planking? I think there is something good about not overexposing. So there is some merit to like showing out, as you said, and then going away. Either going away and just not being seen, or having Candice kind of backstage talking about him, but Johnny's not around. Or having him go back to planking. It's hard to say go back to planking because it's such a big character thing. Like, why is he doing it? I still don't really know why he's doing it. I mean, this all started when he stole Axiom's mask, and Axiom then got it back. I mean, it's so stupid. It's so dumb. I know that, like, during that time, Tommaso left, and some people believe that Tommaso leaving is the real reason for this, but that's never been acknowledged in storyline. It all started, he started the planking because of the Axiom mask. So I think there's merit to showing out, looking amazing, and then going away. And having Candice kind of, you know, have conversations with people, which sets up his next match. And, you know, he comes back a few weeks later, looks amazing, goes away again. There's probably some value to that. I don't know that I'd want him to go back to the planking. I just think it's I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't understand why this is now part of his character. So, yeah, the planking thing, I'm just not crazy about it. Not crazy about it. It's a little bit like, do you remember Festus, where he'd be like in a trance, and then the bell would ring and he'd come to life and start it's a bit like that, isn't it? It's like he's not with us, but then when it's time to have a match, he like shines, and then after the match he goes back to not being with us. It's got shades of that in it. Starboy in the ring here. Pat said what didn't make sense was him going to NXT and then just going back to planking. Well, I think the reason for that was because NXT needed him, but he was in the middle of this planking storyline, so they had to try and find a way of getting both to kind of work. Well, Abrams with Starboy, who kicks out. Starboy. Yeah. Good battle this, actually, between these two. If anyone's wondering, because I know we got a little wobble at the start, we are on 11:58. That's where we are. 11:58 with this week's episodes. That should have been the wake up, says Pat. Well, you would think so, but actually, it's been quite a while since he was in NXT, so it's clear that creatively they still haven't had anything for him. So yes, that could have been the wake up, but there was nothing for him to wake up and go on to do. He's just not been in creative's plans. Their only plan for him has been him just doing this planking thing. I did like, was it last week, CM Punk going over having a words? Kind of, I was hoping that was a sign that we were going to make some progress. So, I mean, I did like that. Right now, we got Max perched. He's up top. Goes for a big splash. Big splash as Starboy moves out the way. Sean said Cartwheel against Starboy would be an instant classic, to be honest. Yeah, it would. Alfie said, Daze, this is going to be my first time watching Evolve. Are there any wrestlers I should look out for? I don't know, to be honest with you, Birds. I think that Starboy is a good prospect. They seem to like Max Abrams. I'm not a big fan of the champ and the challenger tonight. So we do have an Evolve Championship match. It's against the current Evolve champion, Aaron Rourke. I'm not really blown away by either of those, but you probably should be aware of them because, well, everyone that you're seeing are, you know, that next kind of wave of talent. These are the people that are on their way to NXT when there's openings and opportunity. So, Starboy and Max Abrams are putting on some good work here, though. Starboy off that middle rope. Takes over Abrams. Yep, nice. Head scissors. Right now we got Max Abrams over by the rope. Starboy with a kick. He's going up and over. 1, 2. Kick out. That looked really close. Standing sliced breads. Into a pin there by Starboy. Starboy grabbing Abrams. Dragging him over. Kick coming in there by Starboy. Abrams, nice little sell. Flops down. Starboy going up. He's perched. Abrams is up, though. Comes over, collides into Starboy, who goes over. Abrams against the ropes. Oh. 1, 2. Shoulder up there by Starboy. I think Max Abrams thought that was it right then. I think he thought he had him. A lot of frustration there for Max Abrams. Abrams backing over into the corner. Starboy trying to get up to his feet. Abrams jumping over, landing on his feet, backing up. Round the back goes Abrams. Reversal there by Starboy. Into a standing... Oh! Twisting moonsault, but it's still not enough. And right now, Max Abrams managing to get up. Straps are coming down for Starboy. He's going to go over against the ropes. Was looking for that sliced bread again. No joy. Round the back. Reverse. Max Abrams through the ropes. Goes down. Starboy in the ring, going over the other side, hitting the ropes, cartwheel. He was going for the backflip to the outside, couldn't do it. Goes up, over, Abrams. Top rope enziguri by Starboy. Abrams goes down. Starboy trying to get back into the ring. Now we've got the Mog Squad coming down. I did wonder where they had been. I do like Sam Holloway, the big guy. Holloway, Cappuccino Jones. Over the top goes Max Abrams. A lot of people go down. Starboy, I think, is going to go big as well. Starboy, cartwheel, backflip over. A load of people go down again. I'm never a big fan of that sort of spot, but you see it flipping everywhere, so... Sparks, this is awesome chance. There's Santi grabbing a hold of Starboy. Cappuccino Jones accidentally catching Starboy. Yeah, I don't think he meant it because he has just nailed Santi, but bang. Yeah, I think Max Abrams will pick up the victory now. Do you know, it's pretty fun, actually. Pretty fun. Let's get, we might as well get a poll to that, shall we? Let's end that poll. Let's go in and do a match one. So, lots of action towards the end of that match. Let's do that. Let's do that. Yeah, Cappuccino Jones accidentally catching Starboy. Don't know if anything will come out of that, but probably. So, you lot think that we had 135 votes, to be honest. Oh, yeah, there is some frustrations here. Look, Starboy and Cappuccino are sort of getting into it. So, Aaron Rourke, 64% of you think Aaron Rourke is going to be retaining tonight. 35% think it's going to be Harlem Lewis. There's Harlem Lewis. You've waited a long time for this, says Timothy. I need to let the beast out of the cage. So, Harlem Lewis is going to be in action tonight against Aaron Rourke. That's going to be our main event. Now we're just finding out about some new ID signings, maybe. We're just seeing WWE ID. Cappuccino, Laney Lurk, Sloane Jacobs, Anya Roon. Aaron Rourke. The Mog Squads. I don't know if this is just promoting WWE ID or if we've got some new people coming in. Kendall Gray. Sean Legacy. Okay, nice. Stephen said, Daze, hope you're doing well. Unfortunately, my youngest cat passed away. Oh, my God. However, wrestling has been a great heal. Hope your family's doing good. Hope to see Nick Aldis in the ring. Yeah, Stephen, I'm so sorry to hear that, but I've suffered a pet loss recently as well, and it just absolutely knocks you for six, doesn't it? Really does. I mean, I have had pets before, but yeah, definitely... definitely suffered that loss and felt that one myself. So I'm really sorry to hear that you've gone through that as well with your youngest cat as well. So yeah, really sorry to hear that, buds. So Stephen, I'm sending positive vibes your way, bud. Positive energy your way. I can definitely sympathize. Awful. We got Nikita and we got Sloane. Just had like a little advert there for a second, then it's just come back. I'm at 20:55 if anyone's trying to, you know, keep in line. We got Nikita, we got Sloane. They're just backstage talking. Okay, Veronica, Layla coming up next. Okay, Veronica against Layla Diggs. I really like Layla Diggs. She has just picked up a bit of an injury, so I don't know how long she's going to be out for. But this was obviously recorded before that injury. But I mean, she's on NXT now, Layla Diggs. Ratcher said, Daze, Johnny could stop planking overall. The first time he loses a match after winning a few times, he then could go back to being a serious character, and then the planking could not be mentioned again. Yeah, that's fine. I do think there is something in him killing it and then sort of going away. I think like every time you see him, he comes down, he wrestles, and then maybe goes away for a little bit. I wouldn't hate that either, actually. I'd be all right with him, like, you know, and as I said, you can always use Candice backstage to set up like future matches and stuff. Yeah, the planking thing's not really doing it for me. I do wonder if there is a way of making some out of it that could be engaging. I don't know. I don't want to like... I'd be open-minded to it if I was in the creative room and someone really believed in the planking thing and they really felt they could make it work. It's not a vision that I currently share, but I mean, if it's something that someone believed in, I could, you know, I could be like, okay, let's see if your vision works. But for me personally, I don't feel like I need it. Okay, we've got Veronica coming out with big wings. Definitely getting like Lyra Valkyria vibes here. I don't think I've seen Veronica before, to be honest. She's made her way down. She's got big wings. She's screaming out. Gotta say, though, as entrance gear goes, this is the best I think we've seen in Evolve. Layla Diggs is like... Fair play. I mean, she's invested in her character. She's gone and got herself some really good entrance attire. Right now, I'm at 23:45. That's where I am. 23:45 if anyone wants to get in sync. It does knock you for 6, says King Yeti. Daze, here's another go-to question. Who do we think sells bumps the best? Yeah, best sellers. I think Chelsea's pretty good at selling because she gets chucked around a lot. And as a result, like, you know, she's got plenty of practice for her selling. So if I think about someone that, like, you know, is constantly selling, constantly, like, you know, grabbing an arm and all this kind of stuff, I think Chelsea kind of comes to mind. But I like Elia because I think Elia legitimately does get tired during his matches because he gives so much. But he does such a good job of making you believe that he's exhausted to the end and that, you know, he's given everything. I think that's a large part of his success, actually. It's funny because some of the skills of wrestling that are not so obvious are amongst the most important. It's not about, like, doing cartwheels and about doing, like, all these crazy aerial moves and springboard attacks. I mean, it's obviously good if you can do those things and have them in your arsenal. But I think, you know, if you look at Elia's ability to make you believe that he's shattered and that he's given everything during his matches... That is, I would argue, a more important skill because you can emotionally connect to that. I don't know that you really get an emotional connection to moves I think you can look at a move, go, oh, that was good. But it's fleeting. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just, on you go. A great move. What have you got for me now? Moves are like notes. You know, you play lots of notes to create a song. You do lots of moves to create a match. So, yeah, if you can do some eye-catching moves, that's great. But I think the skills of selling and, you know, kind of extracting drama out of your matches, I think that's so important. That's like the melody. It's like, in a way, of the piece of the song. So, and I think a lot of wrestlers miss out on that. That's nice there by Veronica. Down goes Layla. Looking for a cover and kick out. Daze, Leon Ruff is underrated in selling. Oh, I haven't seen Leon Ruff in a long time, to be honest. He could be very good. Yes, he could be very good. Nice takeover there as Veronica goes over the other side of the ring, charges in, back elbow, no joy, back elbow. Does connect by Layla. Another shot coming in there by Layla. Kick coming into the midsection, chop coming in. Down goes Veronica. Ah, lovely kick there by Layla. I really do enjoy her work, you know. Another kick, that's great. She really connected with that as well because her foot was right on the sort of chest, upper chest of Veronica's, even as she was going down. Gore buster by Layla Diggs. Back she goes. On her feet there, Veronica, charging over, and yeah, she loves doing that. She tries to get that into every match. That sort of like backflip into the kick. Right now, Layla Diggs is climbing up. She's perched on that top rope, looking for a moonsault, which she does so well. 1, 2, 3. I like it. The only thing I would say is I want to see her bringing more into her game because there's a couple of moves there that she's really good at, but they are moves that we see on a regular basis. That, if you've never seen Layla Diggs before, is a Layla Diggs match, which is fine because there were some nice moments in it, but I don't want to see her become the next Tiffany Stratton where she's got a few moves and she just relies on them and then we don't see anything else. Because I feel like that's what's happened with Tiffany. She's got a few signature moves and a catchphrase and there ain't nothing else. Layla Diggs then dancing away as we're done with match number 2. And Evolve is flying tonight. I mean, that first match had plenty of time. Second match, not so much. But we are on the verge of match number 3 now. 29 minutes exactly. Aaron Rourke said, I've been tested my entire life and I always seem to pass with flying colours. Starboy, Cappuccino. Okay, so Cappuccino and Marcus are going to be taking on the X-Security, I believe. Next week, we've got Laney Luck against Nikita in a women's Evolve Championship match. So Lady Luck getting a title opportunity. As well as that, next week we got Brooks Jensen against Elijah Holyfield. I do like both of these. Elijah Holyfield looks fantastic. Want to keep seeing his development. Brooks Jensen, I think he's made some good progress since being in Evolve. I think he was acting a bit like a boy, a little bit like not a child, but I don't know. There was an immaturity that kind of felt like it was there when he was in Brooks and Jensen, and then when he was kind of like trying to find a new way forwards. And then he's come down to Evolve, and I think now we're starting to see him become his own man. And that's kind of, there's more of a maturity there to him. And he feels like he's kind of leveled up as a result. So not down on that, actually. Brooks Jensen, Elijah Holyfield. That could be not bad next week. Right, Bishop said, this is why I'm not a fan of AEW. They don't do a lot of selling. Selling is what makes people invested. Drama is a massive part of pro wrestling. Shining Wizard said, I was never going to be anywhere near any kind of belt, but I could sell YouTube. Hang on. I think I've walked in there to a conversation halfway. Okay, we've actually got Elijah Holyfield speaking right now. You better lock in, Brooks. Okay. I mean, he's not like a mind-blowing promo, but his delivery is fine. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's able to kind of deliver with a bit of emotion. I'm pretty hyped for Holyfield's. The only thing we never know is, are the coaches trying to show him some new stuff and kind of get him to a different level, and he's struggling to pick it up? What we see looks good, but we have no idea what he's being shown and where his struggles are with his development. And sometimes you can have some good-looking people that end up kind of getting cut because they're just not progressing at the rate that the Performance Center would like to see. I hope he doesn't become a victim of that. Right, talking of victims, one of these is going to be a victim because the championship is on the line. So Harlem Lewis taking on Aaron Rourke. This is going to be our main event match. And as we said, we're at 33 minutes, so we've got 12 minutes left. Chinaman said, is the development program more interesting than the main roster? I don't think it's more interesting. I think that there are different things to look out for. And I think that that helps compared to the main roster. So I can't say that like the stories are better in Evolve or anything like that. To be honest, I think the stories are a bit loose. And I think they're just there to try and get, you know, wrestlers wrestling. We just need to get Aaron Rourke in the ring. We need to get Harlem Lewis in the ring. We need to get Cappuccino Jones in the ring. And we just try and use some stories, some rough stories to just try and do that. I don't think there's as much thought put into them. I don't think that they're as deep or as meaningful. And it's hard, isn't it? Because, I mean, people aren't sticking around that long. You know, I mean, we'll be losing people quite quickly to NXT. So, I mean, you can't really expect them to kind of do deep stories compared to the main roster because main roster talent couldn't stay there years and years and years. But I think one of the interesting things about developmental is you are watching people that have clearly got flaws. You know, no one here is the finished article. And I think what's interesting is looking at promos going, oh, that was good, but I would tweak this, I would change that, or I think that needed more punch, or we needed a bit of a better line there, or I think the tone is not right. Or is the selling right? Is the moveset right? Are we seeing development? Is the ring gear right? Is the entrance music right? Are the graphics right? Are they interacting with the crowd, or are they ignoring the crowd? Are they playing the babyface role well? Are they a heel? If they're meant to be a heel, are they being heelish? You know, if they're a babyface, are they, you know, kind of winning the crowd over? Is the crowd on their side? Are the crowd hot? Are the crowd cold? Because these are people that are still trying to work out how to do this. You've got that extra element of critique, you know? Normally on the main roster, everyone knows their roles and they can do their roles. We still criticize promos, of course. And we can still criticize matches if they're good or bad. But there's a different level of critique here because we know these people are trying to work it out. We know they're limited. And I think that makes this quite interesting. I think if you enjoy that, questioning those things, reviewing those things, I think you'll really enjoy Evolve. Very quick out the gate here by Harlem Lewis. Kick out there by Aaron Rourke. Kind of thought that he would because we've got so much time left, right? So yeah, I think if you are interested in those things, then you know this will make this show a lot more enjoyable. If you're not interested, then I think this is where Evolve and NXT could be a bit of a slog for you, or a bit more of a slog for you. I enjoy looking at people like Sam Holloway, Holyfield, Brooks Jensen, seeing what they're doing good, seeing where I think they're lacking, watching them evolve, and kind of I'm just interested in that process. I think understanding how someone can go from not being a wrestler to then being a wrestler and having all the tools required and what that process looks like from start to finish, I think that's really interesting. How could you take the average person off the street and make them a fantastic wrestler? I think understanding how you do that is really interesting. That's why I get some extra from Evolve. So Aaron Rourke going for a pin there. At the moment, we are at 37.05. 37.05. Spiller said Daze, he's been in LFG. They are very high on him. Yeah, LFG is definitely a program that's worth checking out. Certainly the new series, because I think the old one where they were kind of making it a bit of a show and it was like who's the best trainer and who's the best rookie and all that stuff. Don't know. That felt a little bit too phony for me. I much prefer what I'm seeing with this new season of LFG, which is they're training and you got Kevin Owens and people just giving them feedback. That is a lot more interesting to me. That's maybe a peek behind the curtain that not everyone cares for, but it's something that I'm interested in. We are back to the action. Very fast start with these two, but, and it is a big but, right? It is still plenty of time to go. So a fast start, but we've still got a good 7 minutes left in this show, and this is our main event. So we know that this is not going to be ending anytime soon. But fast start. I think it might slow a little bit now as Harlem keeps Aaron Rourke grounded. Rob said, does Harlem Lewis eat a lot of soup? Is that why he shaves his chin? I'm not a fan of the look. He reminds me of, like, a biker. Do you know what I mean? He should come down on a bike like Undertaker used to. You could probably convince me that he's like low-level member of Hell's Angels. Back elbow. Another boot coming in there by Aaron Rourke. Kick coming in the midsection. No joy. Another kick coming in. In fact, it does feel like Harlem Lewis might benefit if you did actually go full-on gimmick and give him like something like that. I don't find Harlem Lewis's work to particularly stand out. I don't find his promos to be anything special or unique. I don't find his in-ring to be anything, you know, unique. He's fine. I don't think he's a problem, but Right now, I'm not a fan of the look, though. Right now, he's got Aaron Rourke over his knee. Benito said some game today, but the better team won. Do we think went wrong with England? We covered it, but we went in quite a bit of detail. They just didn't show up. I just don't think they were good enough. I think they had the ability to get through, but they weren't good enough today. I mean, they kept trying to get the ball in the box, kept hitting the first Argentina player. I thought their passing was off. They seemed to be getting pressed, and they just, under pressure, they just weren't crisp. Looked like they were moving the ball around really slow. I think, it felt like, I agree with what some said, actually. It felt like the tournament caught up to us. Felt like there was a lack of fresh legs out there. Big questions about why the manager didn't rotate some players. Don't know. I mean, Kobe Mainu did not really get a minute. Ivan Toney, I think, came on today for the very first time during the whole tournament. We had players that barely played. And we relied a lot on the same sort of players that I think, I would say ran out of steam, but I don't think they've looked good in previous rounds. So, kick out there by Harlem Lewis. This was all about, were they going to improve? We kept being told they're going to get better. They're going to get better. That's the message we were getting over here. We're through. Celebrate that. And we're going to improve. We're going to get better. And I promise you, as an England fan, I've heard that for, 21 years now. Shot coming in there by Harlem Lewis. Aaron Rourke going over against the ropes, coming back. Shot coming back there by Aaron Rourke. These two going off on each other. Daniel said we played Rice and he was hurt and I don't know why. Well, he's a great player. But, I mean, if I'm Kobe Mainu, I'm scratching my head. Another big boots. Another kick coming back there by Aaron Rourke. Shots coming in again. Forearm shot. Back goes Aaron Rourke. Duck underneath. Big knee coming in. Aaron Rourke slumps against the ropes. Back elbow there by Aaron Rourke. He's looking to come over. Aaron Rourke goes over. No joy. Harlem with a big boot. Aaron Rourke goes down. Harlem trying to come over for the pin. One. Just a one. And Aaron Rourke kicks out. Aaron Rourke kicks out after one. Aaron Rourke coming back into this. Come and take it from me, says Aaron Rourke. Big boot there by Aaron Rourke. He's got Harlem up on his shoulders. Bang! Down goes Lewis. 1, 2. Oh, shoulder up. Well, I like the drama at the end of this thing. This is good. I like the drama here. Aaron Rourke can't believe the fact that Harlem Lewis just managed to get out of that. This match carrying on, but it's not going to be carrying on for long. We're at 43-30. We know that this show's just got a couple of minutes left in it. Aaron Rourke's climbing up. Big shot coming in there by Harlem Lewis. Rourke is perched. Harlem Lewis going up. Championship on the line for anyone that's just joining us. Big fight feel. And actually, the match has been okay. It's got better in the final few moments. Which way is this going to go? Harlem Lewis down. Aaron Rourke climbing up. Are we done with Aaron Rourke as champion? Could he be making his way to NXT? Or is he going to retain? Powerbomb there by Harlem Lewis. He's done really well there, Big man with Aaron Rourke has got him up. Drives him down. Harlem 2. Oh, we've got a new champ. Harlem Lewis does it. Harlem Lewis has beaten Aaron Rourke and new There we go. The belt. The belt is presented to Harlem Lewis. And I think that makes him like the third Evolve champion. Jackson Drake had it for a long time. So Jackson Drake had it for a long time. Aaron Rourke got it. And Harlem Lewis has now managed to get it from Aaron Rourke. Aaron Rourke's reign, I don't actually know. I mean, it's in the months. It's a good couple of months. 3 months, 4 months, something along those lines. But it is a victory for Harlem Lewis. Yeah, wow. Do you know, I wasn't convinced we were getting a new champion here. That is a surprise. I don't hate it because Harlem's fine. I haven't got an issue with him. I don't really feel a connection with him. But, well, what is him being champion going to look like? Is this going to change my opinion? Is this going to make him feel more essential? Is it going to change the narrative? It might end up doing nothing, right? I might still be largely indifferent to him. I don't know, but don't hate it. Little bit of a change. New champ. They gave the match a bit of time as well. Match was okay. Started off hot. Did some decent work. Ending was good. Yeah. Not down on it, honestly. I thought the Starboy match was pretty good. It's very watchable, Evolve. I've said before that like people can kind of have a bad impression of Evolve because it's the level below NXT. So people can have a bit of a bad impression thinking that it's just not worth it. It's going to suck. I think tonight was pretty solid. I think tonight was, not bad. Next week, we've got Nikita defending against Laney Luck. So we've got another championship match next week. Let's go match scores, shall we? What did you think about that main event? Word Live Cena fan said, here's why Seth needs the win at SummerSlam. Because Roman said that he can't win without a Money in the Bank contract. Seth does not have one. So Roman said that. Seth is underneath him. He's second best compared to the OTC. Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a good line from Roman because Roman is, he had so much ammo that he could have thrown at Seth. Could have bragged endlessly about all the various achievements, but he didn't. He actually pointed out, like, even Seth's success, one of his recent successes, is not that big of a deal. Do you know what I mean? Like, well done. You got the championship by cashing in money in the... That's really where you are right now. Winning and cashing in money in the bank. You can't just get the job done. You have to do that and fake an injury. I thought it was a really good put down. I don't know that it's been said because it's foreshadowing a Seth win, or if it was just Roman showing just how goated he is, and just like, not taking the obvious road. The obvious road would have been, how many times have you main evented WrestleMania? How many days have you been champion for? How many championship reigns have you had? All of that's the obvious stuff. But to actually sort of use a Seth success against him, I thought was so clever. I don't know that was Roman coming up with it. There is a freedom that these top stars have with their promos. So I don't know if I credit Roman for that or if I credit creative for coming up with it. But to actually not take the obvious road and use Seth's recent success against him was actually part of the reason why, the thumbnail said, did Roman just destroy Seth? Because I don't have much doubt on the mic, Roman got the dub. Whether that's setting up a Seth victory at SummerSlam, I don't know. The only thing I would say is if we are building towards Roman Ober or Roman Rock, I think that makes it more likely that Roman retains at SummerSlam. I would imagine that, I haven't seen odds, but I would imagine Roman is the favourite because of that. So, yes, Seth could get the victory and he could prove that what Roman said is wrong, but I don't know if it wasn't just a great line. I don't know if it wasn't just a great line from Roman. And I don't know that it's necessarily foreshadowing Seth proving anything, right? But it could be. You could be. You could be correct. It could be that Seth gets the win and Roman goes away. I mean, there is a way that you could have Oba win the title before WrestleMania. Roman comes back, wins the Rumble. You do Roman Oba, which is the match people want. But it's just that Oba goes into WrestleMania as champion. I don't know that I would go that way. I think Oba winning the belt from Roman and not passing the torch, but I suppose in a way it would be a little bit of a passing of the torch moment. I mean, right now, Oba feels like the more likely future big star of the next generation, right? So I don't think it would be a passing of the torch. But I think if ever we do get Oba, Roman, Oba wins. And I think with that match being the match, do you want Roman losing at SummerSlam? Doesn't even matter if it's to Seth. Do you want Roman losing when clearly Roman Oba has got to be on the horizon soon? I think that is why, for me, Roman has the edge. It's not much of an edge. It's a bit of an edge. Seth can absolutely win. But I'd say Roman's just got the edge at the moment. Daze, can we bring back the elimination tag for Survivor Series instead of War Games, said Benito? Or maybe even introduce a different match like scaffolding or a championship scramble. Yeah, we covered that the other day, didn't we? Because War Games was announced, and I must admit, I just put a tweet out going, sigh. Because that's how I felt. I saw it and I was like, oh. And that is how I felt. That was my reaction. I'm done with War Games at Survivor Series. I don't mind if it comes back in the future. But yeah, I would like something else. And I think we could definitely come up with something interesting. Something that's going to get the juices going. I think, I feel like that's what people are looking for right now. They're looking to be inspired. They're looking for something that's going to grab them. That's going to shake them. That's going to, Sammy winning the championship was a little bit of that. Didn't see that come in. But, 9 days later, he loses it to CM Punk, right? CM Punk coming back was always going to happen. We knew CM Punk was not gone. He comes back and gets the championship. Okay, you could say that's the second surprise because we didn't go into that show expecting that he would be champion. But I think we went into the show expecting that he would be on the show. Him ending the show as champion was a bit of a surprise. So I'm not too down on that. I'm not down on them giving it Sammy and then giving it to Punk and a couple of surprises, couple of talking points, couple of moments. Yeah, good. The wrestling should be doing those things. But I think that's what people are looking for. They're looking for surprises, moments, shocks, innovation, yeah? Something different. I think to go, hey, do you know what we're doing at Survivor Series? Whoa, what? What are you doing? You know what we're doing, right? We're going to announce Survivor Series. Get ready, everyone. It's coming. Survivor Series. Get this. This is what we're doing, right? At Survivor Series. Yeah. What are you doing? Well, yeah, no. At Survivor Series, War Games. We're going to do War Games. What? What do you mean, War Game? Doing that again? War Games. We've spoke about it. We've had a good chat in the creative room. We've gone, any ideas for anything new that we can do? And we came to the conclusion, right? There isn't. There is nothing new that we've come up with, and so we're just going to do War Games again. So we're going to do that. But you like it, don't you? You always enjoy it. So yeah. Good, yeah. Turn those frowns upside down. So it's got that vibe to me. It's got that vibe where it's like, oh, that's the greatest minds in wrestling have been put together, and you've gone, let's just do the same thing we've been doing for the past few years. That growingly, as time has gone by, more and more and more people seem to be a bit tired of. Thanks. So yeah, I wish it was something different, but to be honest, I did have a sneaky suspicion that it was not going to be anything different. Spain, Argentina said Lightspeed Tractor, talking about getting the juices going. I think it'll be a good game. I think Spain are definitely the team that deserve for me to get the win. So I hope that they get the job done. I think they deserve it. They just absolutely effortlessly took France apart. So, yeah, respect. Big Time said, I'm still down on England losing. I was passionate and optimistic with the 1-0 lead. That got me excited. I'm not down on it, honestly. I'm just a bit annoyed about it. If it gets brought up, I just get a bit annoyed about it because I really... the two teams battled. Argentina definitely deserved to go through. I was just in disbelief of what I was seeing. It was just, I was lied to. I was told they were going to be better, and they just absolutely were not. And I don't think they've ever looked right. I think there's massive questions that need answering. I don't know that Thomas Tuchel got his squad selection correct. Right before the tournament began, there was big questions about where's Cole Palmer, where's Trent, where's Luke Shaw. Why have you not took like a proper left back? You took O'Reilly, which is fine, but he likes to drift into midfields. So who's going to be putting the balls in the box? We're having to rely on Gordon, who's okay at it. He can do it. But I mean, it would be better if we had someone that could be a left fullback that could get balls in, And you took Reece James, and we all know that he's injury prone. I mean, if you take Reece James, you're not getting a whole tournament out of him. So who's your backup? Well, his backup was Livramento, and then Livramento, just before the tournament started, got injured. And then we've had to put Jed Spence there, and Jed Spence has had a bit of an up and down tournament. So do you know what I mean? Like there's been square pegs in round holes, and England have bumbled their way through to a semi-final. They haven't looked good, and the only thing that we kept getting told was it's going to get better. It will get better as we play the better teams. England will get better. That's what we were told. We struggle against these teams that defend and shut us out. We find it hard to break them down, but when we play against teams that are more open, that'll create more space and we can work them. That's what we were told. That's what we kept getting told. And you go, okay, you're getting paid a lot of money. You seem to know, you're a great manager. You seem to know what you're on about. I ain't seeing it, but, And then, bang, game starts, and I don't think there was a single part of that match where I felt England played well. Maybe there was a flurry towards the end, but I've seen the momentum graph about who's having the better of, whatever. And England only have a few moments. And I mean, the second half, we scored the goal, and I think we leave America. I don't even think we're on the pitch. I think we just go, because I didn't see a second team. I saw Argentina just constantly battering a goal. I didn't see another team on the pitch. And I know people can say, well, it's Argentina, they're amazing, they got Messi, all this kind of stuff. I promise you, England were atrocious, and they have been atrocious in this tournament. And I'm just not shocked. I'm frustrated, I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed in England. I'm disappointed in their performance. I can cope with going out. I've had a whole life of watching England go out. I've never seen England win a major tournament. Because guess what? Since 1966, they've never been good enough to win one. And this year proved to be no different. So, yeah, I think because I'm a bit older and I've been through so many tournaments and I've gone through so much disappointment, I have the ability now, and I didn't when I was younger, but I have the ability now to have a look at this team, see how they're playing, and judge if it's going to, be good enough. And I judged quite a while ago that this was not going to be good enough. And yeah, you can try and be a snake oil salesman. You can try and tell me that it's going to work out and that the good times are coming. You can try and do that. But if I don't see any evidence of it, it's very hard for me to buy that. And, so it proved they were flipping rubbish. And they absolutely deserve that plane ride home. I don't know what happens now with Thomas Tuchel. Honestly, if he resigns, I won't shed a tear. If he gets fired, I won't shed a tear. I think that he was brought in to do one job, and that was when we get to this stage, help England get over the line. When they're in those moments of, it's wave after wave of pressure, you need to make the changes, bring the players on the pitch that's going to alleviate that pressure. And he did the exact opposite. He brought defenders on and just invited it. Rubbish. Absolutely rubbish. Tuchel retains FA backing. Tuchel was criticised for his substitutions, but he has received the full backing of the FA chief executive. That's a shame. I would not be sad if he departed. AB said, Daze, England were supposed to be better, but Argentina deliver when the lights hit. England bring hope, but Argentina bring trophies. I'm not a sore loser, but I really don't think this is about Argentina. I really don't believe that it's about them at all. I think they were very beatable. I think they've been very beatable in this tournament. If you watch them against Egypt and you watch them against Cape Verde, having to go extra time against Cape Verde, if you watch them against Egypt, if you watch them against England, they go 1-0 behind. With 10 minutes to go, they were going out. And so for me, this is not an Argentina that should be feared. This is not an Argentina that I think England were always losing to. I'm actually frustrated. I think this is an Argentina that should have been beaten. And again, that's not me being a sore loser or anything like that. When I'm watching England play and I'm watching them making mistakes, I'm watching the ball being moved so slowly, I'm watching them losing the ball, I'm watching them trying to get crosses in and they can't even get past the first Argentina defender. I'm watching these. I'm watching him bring defenders on with about 20 minutes to go. And I mean, what does that mean? That means that the plan is we're going to sit back. We're going to defend. If you bring defenders on as substitutions, that means that you're inviting pressure. The plan is we've got a goal. You haven't. Good luck. That was the plan. That was it. That was the plan. That was his plan. I think you can get away with that against Norway. I don't think you get away with that against Argentina. So I struggle when people are going to say, oh, it's Argentina's brilliance and they always find a way. I think this is more about England shooting themselves in the foot. I really do. He did not need to bring defenders on with 20 minutes to go. We had players like Saka that's really good, very explosive, kind of really could have got at their fullbacks. It was as if we sort of felt like we couldn't match them. And so our best chance was to just try and defend and keep them out. But I mean, we all saw the goals they've scored late in the tournament. Tuchel, I think, thought that the mentality that we showed against Mexico and against Norway was going to be enough, and it just wasn't. And it never was going to be. And I just think that the manager has absolutely thrown it away. Absolutely thrown it away. That is not the right strategy. I think he's got some really big questions to ask himself. Really big questions. And I hope the noise is loud. I really don't want the narrative to be that Argentina outclassed England, because that's not the game I saw. The game I saw was England shoot themselves in the foot and throw it away. And I really want the manager to think about that, because the only hope you can have is that lessons get learnt for next time. That's the only hope you can have. But you know what? That's been the same conversation tournament after tournament after tournament after tournament, and those lessons never get learnt. Southgate, our previous manager, was always criticised for taking the lead and then defending. We played against Italy in the Euro final. We took the leads in the European Championship final at Wembley in London. We took a 1-0 lead and then we crumbled. We just sat back and we invited pressure and we ended up going to penalties and we lost. And that was in 2021. It was the Euro final. And fans have been saying for a long time, we need a manager where when we go 1-0 up, We don't just crumble. We don't just go back and defend. We don't invite pressure. We need to be going for that second goal. We need to be finding a way of moving forwards, going fire for fire, you know? And he's gone and done the one thing he couldn't do. He's done the one thing he shouldn't do. And that is just defend, invite pressure, and just... There is no difference between what Thomas Tuchel's done and what Southgate was doing. And this is meant to be an elite manager that's getting paid a lot of money. Just absolutely threw it away. Yeah, it's really annoying. It's really annoying. But I've had a life of it, so okay. I'll be over it. Am over it. I don't care about Saturday. Who gives a flip what happens if France, England? If I was England, I'd just chuck I don't know. Whoever's not played can have a game. Put Mainu out there. He hasn't really played. Give him a run out. Put one of the sub-keepers out. Give them a run out. No one cares if you finish third or fourth. It means absolutely nothing. It is the most pointless game in all of football. No one cares who finishes third or fourth. So, to be honest, I'm probably not even going to tune into that. I'm not interested. Who cares? If you finish third, it doesn't mean anything. History is all about who won the World Cup. It's not about, oh, did you get a bronze medal? I mean, I'm sure the players might like a medal, you know? I'm sure they might like a bronze medal, but, mate, rubbish. Is there any words on the date for Mania next year, said Bishop? No words yet, no. Shaban said they should have had Southgate in charge because there was just no difference today. Yeah. I honestly, I really hope there's a lot of anger out there. I really hope there's a lot of anger. I don't want him kind of getting grief. I don't want no stupid death threats or stupid comments like that. But I really do think there's some very honest questions that need to be asked. Like, why did you decide to defend? Why could we not go at them? You know, we were told that when teams were going to come at us and they were going to have space available, that we'd be able to exploit it. I do think there's probably something in our legs giving up. I do think there's probably something in the fact that the tournament caught up to us. But then equally, you know, why didn't you use your squad better? Why did we always have Rice and Anderson? Why did we never play Mainu? You know? Why did we never play Mainu in the middle of the park? I mean, we couldn't really have played Jordan Henderson, but because he did his arm in, but that was a criticism. Jordan Henderson, who's, you know, well past his prime, he made the squads because he's a bit of fun to have in the locker room, apparently. He's banter. He brings good vibes. I'm not even lying. Apparently he was in the squad because he's, you know, he sets a good example in training. I think in this tournament, in this heat, with this intensity, you need a squad of 25 people that you can keep rotating and using. And we didn't. We just kept playing largely a lot of the same players. And I don't know, man. I think, you know, there might be some questions to ask there as well. How Kobbie Mainoo never played any minutes? Don't get it. Don't understand. How when Livramento got injured, did you not select a better right back? Why did you bring in Chalobah, who also I don't think played? I don't know if he had any minutes. Chalobah is a defender who I don't think played any minutes. I mean, he's got a lot of cover in case something goes wrong. But I don't think that, you know, this tournament was the right place to just keep playing largely the same players and hope that they just make it through after such a grueling season as well. They've now got to try and, you know, go through a whole tournament. I mean, Declan Rice was just shot, wasn't he? He was dead. I mean, like, we were having to... Apparently he was in bed for 3 days before the Norway game with the sickness. Managed to get through 45 minutes against Norway, and then he's got a couple of days to get ready for a semi-final, and he ends up starting and playing a lot of the game. And Kobbie Mainoo is still sat on the bench. Probably going, what have I got to do, man? What have I got to do? Half the people on the pitch are dead, and I still can't get a game. Oh, my God, it's so annoying. And, do you know, the annoying thing is, as well, we've got some really great players that didn't even make it. We've got Adam Wharton, who's a great player. Kobe Mainu played in the Euro final against Spain and did fine. You know, he's absolutely can come on and play 45 minutes here and there, take some pressure off the other players. I got questions around that. I got questions around his squads. I got questions around the way that they... I don't mind how they started against Argentina. I think at half-time it felt a bit 50-50, but that second half we just threw it away. Absolutely threw it away, so... Yeah, I hope a lot of people have got these questions. I hope a lot of people are asking this stuff. I can tell you there's a talk sport radio station that's called Talk Sport, right? They were doing a watch along. I obviously didn't watch their watch along, but I've seen a clip that at the very end, the two hosts are just yelling, "Sack him, sack him," like sack him for what he's done tonight. Like what he's done tonight is a disgrace. Sack it. Like the anger that I'm seeing towards the manager is, yeah, justified. But Christopher said England were beaten by the better team. That's facts. When England went 1-0 up, Argentina stepped up and England were overrated. Well, Christopher, I don't know how long you've watched football for, but I'm not going to question your football knowledge, but I've watched football for a long, long time. I've watched England for a long time. I've been watching them since the 90s. I know kind of what people were saying going into the game, the areas that we could exploit Argentina, and I think if that's how you've seen the game, that's absolutely fine. What I've seen is an England team that have thrown it away. I've seen an England team that's made really bad substitutions. I've seen an England team that struggles to get the pacing right. They needed to be moving the ball around a lot quicker. They needed to be using the wings a lot more. I've seen an England team that's struggling to get crosses into the box. I've seen an England team that struggled to get Bellingham and Kane into the game. And I've seen a manager struggle to fix those things. I've seen a manager that's not changed England's shape in an offensive manner or not bring on certain offensive players. And I've seen an England team that took a 1-0 lead, probably, 50-50 at half-time, take a 1-0 lead fairly early in the second half, and at that point, retreat. I mean, there's no other way of saying it. We went into a low block and we retreated. So, if your interpretation of that is that Argentina just turned on the swagger and England just, couldn't deal with it, that's absolutely fine. But my interpretation is that England threw it away because of substitutions and the tactics and the fact that they weren't exploiting Argentina's weaknesses. And don't forget, I've had to listen to a manager tell me throughout a whole tournament, as soon as teams come at us, that's when we'll be at our best. That's what I've been told. As soon as they come at us, we'll be at our best. We're no good when teams sit back, because when teams sit back, we struggle to break them down. So when teams sit back, we can't get through. We were really frustrated against Ghana, for example. We drew 0-0 with Ghana. We were really frustrated against the Congo. We ended up winning 2-1, but it took a couple of moments of magic from Kane to kind of do that. So when teams sit back, we really struggle. Well, what I saw in the second half was Argentina all over us, which is apparently what we wanted. And we were rubbish. So, I mean, do you know what I mean? What I'm being told is just either lies or we just didn't know what we were doing. So, England, for me, just completely got it wrong, threw it away. I questioned the squad selection and certainly questioned the tactics. Layla Diggs said AB. Cake, confetti, full on cinema. I like Layla Diggs. I think she's good. The prestige of the NXT title has taken a nosedive, says Big Time. It really suffered, and this is a title that has got such legacy. Well, I don't know. I mean, I think we put it on the person that had arguably the most experience that was kind of left over. I think they tried to repackage him, and I'm not sure that repackage has really worked. The belt has been on people that I would say were a bit questionable in the past as well. So I think the belt is on someone that doesn't really feel like they're hitting the same heights as Ober or some of the other people. I think that, you know, we know that the men's division is in a strange place, and, you know, I can't really answer as to why we've not brought in some experience, why we've not been able to bring some main roster talent down to support it. I don't know. I can't really answer those things, because I would have got some TNA talent in. You know, I would have got in, I mean, we could have had Leon Slater, or I don't know what's happened with that partnership. Seems like it's not being utilized the same way it was, so I don't know what's happening there. But equally, like, what's happening with bringing in some main roster support. They've gone and put it on the one person like Tony, who's been in since NXT 2.0, who's been in NXT for years and years and years, who's got a connection with the audience. They've repackaged him. I don't think it's worked, really. I don't think it's the strongest connection in the world. And as a result, yeah, I can't disagree. I think that it's on someone the fans are a bit about, not really kind of, you know, ripping up trees. So it's just that. I don't think it's bigger than, oh, the belts have lost their prestige and all this stuff. I don't think it's that dramatic. I mean, we've put belts on people that, as I said, I don't feel have been, you know, had the biggest aura historically either. You know, I mean, the belt was on Bo Dallas. Bo Dallas was a champion for a time in NXT. If you go back to when NXT was kind of like starting out as a brand, we went from Seth to like Big E. We had Bo Dallas. So, you know, we've kind of gone through a few different people over the years. Not everyone's knocked it out the park. And I think at the moment, Tony's probably in that boat. But, you know, I think once we get some people in, you know, if we can get Santana, if we can get Zilla, if we can get Leon Slater, if we can get some of these people through the door to sort of boost that men's division, then I think we can start to make some progress quite quickly. Because I think we've got some interesting prospects. They just need some experience to work with. So, you know, I'm looking at Keanu Carver. I'm looking at Tate Wilder. I'm looking at, like, Miles Bourne. I'm looking at Tavian. I'm looking at some of these names. And, I mean, they feel like prospects, but they just feel like they're all largely around the mid-card. No one's ready to take that next step to the main event scene. But if you bring in a Leon Slater, a Mike Santana, you know, maybe bring someone down from the main roster, I think you can sort of boost that main event scene quite quickly. And I think you can flesh out the division quite quickly. But at the moment, we've just had to go with Tony. And yeah, I mean, it hasn't really set the world on fire. I can't say that it's one that's blown my mind. But I don't think it's any deeper than that. Chris said, Argentina didn't look good this whole tournament. I thought England just kept pressure on when they were going to win. No one's going to be beating Spain, though. Yeah, I think it's Spain's to lose, isn't it? I agree with you. Even if England had found a way through, I think they were going out against Spain. Yeah. So, you know, I suppose we can take some comfort from the fact of we won't win in this World Cup. I kind of said the same thing, actually, in 2018. England went out to Croatia in the semi-final. And one of the comforts then was, well, even if we'd got to the final, we were losing to France 100%. And France did go on to win it. And I think we're in the same boat. This feels actually very similar to 2018, which is very frustrating because that was 8 years ago. It feels very similar. We got to the semi-final. I believe we took the lead in that semi-final. That ended up going to extra time, and then we lost in extra time, and we went out to Croatia. And then it was Croatia-France in the final of the World Cup 8 years ago. England going out at the semi-final stage. That's when we had Gareth Southgate in charge. And that's when there was criticisms of we took the lead and we'd thrown it away. And here we are 8 years later with a different manager, having taken the lead, thrown it away, and just missing out on getting to a World Cup final. England are those nearly men, you know. Got to the semi-final 8 years ago, didn't get the job done. Got to the semi-final this year, didn't get the job done. Got to the final twice of the Euros recently. Both times, did not get the job done. We're looking for that person that can get us over the line. We're looking for that person that can sort of work the puzzle out. Because we've got good pieces, but they're not quite in the right place. And we always like go a goal up and then retreat. And Thomas Tuchel was meant to bring something different. And tonight he just brought the exact same thing, the exact same story we've seen all the time. So a lot of disappointment over here in the UK, as you would imagine. But I can't say much surprise. And on that bombshell, we are done. So don't forget, we will be around tomorrow. We'll have a member stream tomorrow. We'll be doing wrestling escape pods. And then, of course, we're back on Friday with SmackDown. And we're back on Saturday with Saturday night's main event. So there we go. At least we saw a show that had a new champion crown. So that was worth watching. And yeah, have a good evening. Enjoy yourselves. And I will see you again next time. Bye for now.